So our titanium strings are our newest addition to our string lineup. We've worked effortlessly to formulate the ideal string to enhance the performance of the player, whether it be a beginner or up on stage.
I'm excited because it's taken a long time to get to this point where we can actually release a commercial product. You know, there's probably been a combined effort of about 8 years of research and development that have gone into these strings. And one of the key parts of the development process was finding a supplier who can provide this titanium wire to us at the properties that we need for a guitar string. And that was a real challenge for this product. You know, one of the big selling points of the strings is the corrosion resistance. The reason you don't want corrosion on a string, well, it doesn't look that nice, but also it adds mass to the string. And when you start adding mass to the string, it starts to dampen the tone of the string. And that's why the strings go dead, because of that mass that starts to develop on the string with normal use. You know, I have a sample in a vial for 5 years, and I'm still not seeing any corrosion on it. And compared to a conventional phosphor bronze acoustic string, in the same sort of situation, you would see corrosion within 15 minutes to a half hour. And we have several tests that we'll use basically on 3 different levels. And in some cases, we'll soak strings in a salt solution. In some cases, we'll simulate human perspiration and the wetting and drying process that occurs when you play the string. And then the third is to really give them to different people and see what their reaction is to it.
We sent out 200, 300 sets of strings. You really don't understand what type of feedback you're going to get until some of those comments come back in. And the comments that we got, there were rave reviews pretty much across the board. From a tonality standpoint, from a tuning stability, corrosion resistant, and just the brilliance of the strings.
Titanium strings are great for collectors who are maybe not playing their strings that often. They'll be able to pull these guitars out of the case, they'll be in tune, they'll look spectacular, and they're going to sound spectacular. Another great characteristic of these strings is the tuning stability. And we went through great lengths working with a supplier to provide us with this titanium wire that gives us properties that you don't normally see with high carbon steel wire. And it's all related to the ultimate tensile strength, the elongation, the yield properties of that wire. And what you'll experience with these strings is when you put them on, there'll be very little adjustment that you have to do once you tune it up to standard pitch. Much less than you would see with a high carbon steel conventional guitar string.
The strings are going to last for a long period of time. If you're an individual that plays out a lot and you do a lot of shows, it's going to be great for that as well, because it's going to withstand the elements up on stage. You tune it up to pitch and you leave it alone, and it's going to perform and stay in tune. Whether you put that guitar back in your case, put it under your bed, and you pull it out a month, 2 months from then, you're not going to need to tune it up. It's going to stay perfectly in tune. These strings are really comfortable to play, and when I say comfortable, I'm kind of referring to the stiffness of the string and the drag that you have when you're sliding on the string. The stiffness, or the amount of pressure you need to put on that string to fret it, is a lot less, and you'll notice that when you're playing the string. Not to mention, they do have less drag than you'll feel with high carbon steel or tinned planes. And I think what you're going to find with these strings is they're going to inspire you to play in a different way that you haven't played before. And what you usually get with these nickel alloys on an acoustic guitar is a little bit, I want to say, drier sound, less sizzle on the high end, which makes it great for recording, because a lot of people will complain that when they're playing strings in the studio, they're getting this high-end sound that they don't usually prefer. That's why a lot of people like to play strings that are broken in when they go into the studio. Well, these strings have that broken in sound right away. You're going to notice 2 key attributes inherent of the titanium core string. One is the unique string anchor, and the other is the crimped end. On a conventional string, you have a ball end. With the titanium core string, you have the unique string anchor. Similar to our conventional strings, you're going to do the exact same thing when inserting the unique string anchor into the bridge pin hole using the bridge pin. One of the key points with the titanium strings are to keep the crimped end of the string intact until you fully wind the string around the tuning post. Stringing it in this manner prevents recoil and loss of tone. If you're looking to purchase a set of these titanium strings, you can go to our Martin website. We'll have a list of select dealers that currently are carrying the product.
We worked really hard on these strings, and ultimately we want to inspire musicians worldwide.